What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We are just 48 hours away from the start of FPL for another season, so I'm going to show you my latest draft. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So as I mentioned in the introduction and from the thumbnail of the video, I'm going to show you my latest and final draft ahead of the start of the Premier League season. Now, what I mean by this is my drafts have all been very different. I've been trying out different strategies and I finally found one that I'm happy with. There are a couple of players which we'll talk about at the end that I may tweak between now and the end of the season, but this is a team I'm very happy with and I may just make very small changes, the odd player between now and the start of the season, but I feel like I've got the base of my team there and I'm not be making completely new draft. I may just tweak this one between now and game week 1, but I'm very happy with it and I wouldn't be surprised if I went into game week 1 with my team looking exactly as it does in this video. So diving straight into it, we've gone with Sanchez and Foster in goal. Very common combination in goal. Sanchez, one of the most popular goalkeepers we've got. There are only 3 goalkeepers that I'd consider owning for game week 1, and that is Sanchez of Brighton, Bachmann of Watford, and Martinez of Aston Villa. So those are the 3 that I'd consider starting with, but Sanchez has the best opening 6 fixtures out of any of these teams, and we know Brighton were a good defence last season, so I think at 4.5 million he is a really nice price. Foster the backup, like many of you have. It may change for another option, but he's there. He's probably got the most chance to play out of any 4.0 million goalkeeper, and here's the backup, but Sanchez will be starting for me each and every week because just how good those Brighton opening fixtures are. Into the defence, we've got Ben White. So he comes in signing for Arsenal. Now, Arsenal conceded the 3rd fewest goals last season. And although they have a difficult fixture in game week 2 and game week 3 against Manchester City and Chelsea, he'll sit on my bench in those weeks. And then from game week 4 onwards, he has a really nice run of fixtures. So it is a bit of forward planning. So I've got White in my squad for when that nice run of fixtures come for Arsenal. But 4.5 million is a really nice price for him. Next up, we've got Trent. Now, there was no chance that I didn't go into this season with Trent in my team. 7.5 million, the most expensive defender on the game, but I really think that he'll be worth it. He takes corners, set pieces, he's great from open play, getting balls into the box, both for assists and goals. And Liverpool I expect to be better defensively this season than they were last season. So with the return of Van Dijk, with Fabinho going back into midfield, I do think that their defensive solidity will be much better. So Trent will both get more clean sheets, but also it will allow him to be more attacking down that right hand side, and so I think he'll get more attacking returns this season as well, making him a great asset, and being the same price as last season, it was a no-brainer to include him in my game week 1 team. Next up, we have Luke Ayling. Again, a bit like White, a great option at 4.5 million. The opening couple of games for Leeds isn't that great, but we'll see from the rotation and the plan for my team, I won't have to play Ayling for the opening couple of fixtures, and he'll come into my team when the fixtures are better for them, including Burnley in game week 3. He has attacking threat, and Leeds were great defensively, particularly at home last season, so that combination of attacking threat and that clean sheet potential makes him a really nice option in combination with Ben White in my team. Now, next up, we have Tsimikas of Liverpool coming in at 4 million. Now, for anyone who isn't aware, the reason this guy is in my team is Robertson has picked up an injury and is unlikely to start the first 3 or 4 games for Liverpool. Now, Liverpool in game week 1 play Norwich and in game week 2 play Burnley. And so the option of having a 4.0 left back who looked great, he got an assist in the most recent friendly as well, was just too good to turn down. So I've got him as a combination of Trent. I don't think he's a replacement for Trent, but I think at 4.0 million, he's a really good option for those first couple of game weeks, and that's why he's in my team to go in there for the first 2 weeks while Ayling and White have maybe more difficult fixtures before they can come in and rotate from game week 4 onwards. Next up, and to complete my defence, it's the most highly owned player in the game, which is Luke Shaw, 5.5 million. Really like him. I think there's really nice clean sheet potential with the opening sort of 6 fixtures for Manchester United being really nice. But he's also shown both last season, but more importantly in the Euros as well, the assist and goal threat that he's got, getting up that left-hand side. He's very clinical and puts a lot of balls in the box as well. So I think he'll make a really good offering for 5.5 million. I imagine he'll only see price rises as the season goes on. Really nice price for him, and he completes my 5-man defence. They won't all be playing, but we'll get into my starting 11 at the end of the video. Into the midfield, we've got Brownhill being my 4.5 midfield option. So this could be Brownhill or it could be Billy Gilmore of Norwich, who's apparently on some set pieces for Norwich. However, their fixtures are very difficult and Brownhill did score 2 goals in pre-season. So I think at 4.5 million, playing attacking midfield on the right hand side as well, at that option, the best option at that price for me at the moment. They have an okay start to the season, but he will sit on my bench. He can come in if he's ever needed, but for the start of the season, it's just great to have a 4.5 option who has a little bit of goal threat as well as being nailed, having played 33 games out of 38 last season. Next up is a new name in my team, which is Mason Greenwood, 7.5 million. Now this was Jota, but going Tsimikas in defence mean I need another option because I can't have more than 3 Liverpool players. And the more I look at it, the more I think Mason Greenwood will start the first 4 games for Manchester United, which are really nice fixtures, and then I can potentially transfer him out after that. So 7.5 million, at the end of last season he showed, and in previous seasons as well, if he gets consistent minutes from Manchester United, he does score goals and he gets assists. And with Rashford out, I think there's a great chance that he starts the first few games, and that's what I'm counting on. 7.5 million, if he gets a run in the team, will be a great price for him. Now, over the course of the season, he may not start every game, but the first 4, with the international break in there as well, it not being too fixture congested, I think Greenwood will start them all, and 7.5 million, given what he can offer, is a great price. Next up in the midfield, Raphinha at 6.5 million. So Leeds again don't have the best opening start to the season, but Raphinha is so attacking. He's one of their best players and is on set pieces for them as well. We know Leeds have the ability to score against whatever team they're playing against, so 6.5 million was a big surprise for him to come in this season, given quite how good he was at the end of last season. So 6.5 million, he could have been 7.5 million, so I really like his price. It allows me to move the budget around my team as well, but if there's another option at that price that does well, I can easily jump around them. But Raphinha, knowing what Leeds can do, even with some potentially more difficult fixtures, is in my team. Next up, we have Salah, the main man, the highly owned midfielder that we've got at the moment is Salah at 12.5 million. Now, he's the main captaincy option for me for the first 6 game weeks. There's only a couple of game weeks that I won't put the armband on with him there. Actually, in pre-season, Jota and Mane have been stealing the limelight, as well as Firmino, but as soon as the season starts, I expect Salah to be focused on the Premier League title, getting off to a good start with the Golden Boot, playing Norwich and Burnley in the first 2. I think he'll want to get some goals on the scoreboard there. He's on penalties as well, so while there's no rotation with the Champions League, he's definitely in my team. And my midfield is completed with having Bruno Fernandes in my team coming in at 12 million. So I really like him. Yes, there are other options that people are looking at like Mahrez or Son, but having Fernandes to start with is much easier than trying to pick him in if he doesn't start the season in your team and he does really well. So if Kane does well or Lukaku comes, then I can easily make that switch around. But if I don't have that second big premium, it makes drafting and moving those transfers around very difficult. They have a really nice opening start to the season as well, so he completes my Manchester United triple up with Greenwood and Shaw. And with penalties and set pieces as well as his open play threat, I do think he's worth 12 million for the start of the season. Into the forward line, the first one we have is Mikel Antonio of West Ham. So a really nice opening for West Ham, particularly from an attacking point of view. I don't love their defenders, but I think Antonio, if he could stay fit and he continues to play, is a really nice option at 7.5 million. Good goal threat. He may be on penalties as well. We're not quite sure about that, but great fixtures and we know he scores goals as well. Second in my forward line is Ivan Toney of Brentford. So again, it's really nice that we've got a good 6.5 million forward. He's about the only one that I can see. Mopai of Brighton has caught my eye a little bit, but Toney being very highly owned. He plays Arsenal, then Crystal Palace. I think there'll be chances for Toney in that. I'm just keeping an eye out whether he's going to be fit for game week 1. If not, I may have to make a last minute change, but Brentford have an okay run of fixtures. Toney scored so many goals in the Championship, so he doesn't need to match that. If he can get anywhere close, I think he'll be a nice option for game week 1. Final option we've got in this team is Danny Ings, who is of Aston Villa now, signing from Southampton. So there is a little bit of doubt about the likes of Buendia, Bailey, Watkins, whether they'll be ready for game week 1, which makes Danny Ings surprisingly the only fit player in his team to start the season in game week 1. So he may be on penalties as well, depending on El Ghazi takes them or not, but he's so clinical. He scored in his first game for them in pre-season. I just think because of the amount of chances that Aston Villa have the possibility of creating. They have the opening 3 fixture of Dreams, the best start to the season out of anyone in the league, and Ings, we know what he can do when he stays fit. He just scores goals. So he's the third forward that completes my lineup. In terms of the transfers that I've made for this team, so I've made 3 transfers. I've downgraded Soufal to Ben White, so I didn't need to play Soufal every week, and the more I look at their fixtures, I don't love the West Ham fixtures from a defensive point of view. I think there'll be a lot of goals in their opening games, and they look like they may be starting the season with a 4 at the back system rather than the 5 at the back, which makes Soufal so appealing. So I've downgraded him to Ben White of Arsenal, who have a really nice run of fixtures from game week 4 where they play Norwich at home, so he'll come into my starting 11 from that week. I also did Lucas Digne down to Tsimikas as soon as I saw that he was starting. I already wasn't sure on Jota and how many minutes he was going to play. When Robertson got injured and then Firmino scored 2 goals in the pre-season game that he got the start in, it just made me worry too much about having Jota in my team, so I went with Tsimikas instead, who has good assist potential. He got 1 in the pre-season game that he starts, and I think they have a good chance of keeping some clean sheets in the opening 2 games as well. And the other transfer that we did with the money that we freed up there is upgraded Gilmour all the way to Mason Greenwood. So I did have a little bit of money in the bank from my last team, but this has slightly changed the formation that I'm going to play. I think Mason Greenwood, as I said, will start the first 4 games. If he starts, he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and it's a really nice run of fixtures as well. This draft also leaves me with 0.5 million in the bank, which I think is a really good strategy to help you be flexible at the start of the season. So the fact that I have that just put the cherry on top of the cake. The cherry on top of the cake, the cherry on top of the icing for the start of the season. The 3 players that I'm considering selling between now and the start of the season: Greenwood, I just want to make sure he's ready and nailed to start game week 1, but I think he is. Rafinha, again, 6.5 million. There are a few other options that I could go with, like Ben Rama, like Dele Alli even of Tottenham if I can't go to Son, for example, but we know what Rafinha is capable of. And the final one is Tsimikas. Do I really want to use my 3rd Liverpool spot on him? If Jota does start really well, or Mane, then I won't be able to get them in because I've got this 4.0 defender in my team who I only plan on playing for the opening 2 game weeks. Is that enough to have him in my team is what I've left to decide. In terms of how I'll actually line up, so this is it. I will start with a 3-4-3 as planned in game week 1. I will have Sanchez in goal away at Burnley with Trent, Shaw and Tsimikas, all with great opening fixtures as my 3-man defence. My midfield 4 will be Greenwood, Fernandes, Salah, Rafinha with Tony, Ings, Antonio up front. Captaincy armband is on Mo Salah with vice captaincy on Bruno Fernandes. I have finally found a team that I absolutely love. I hope you enjoyed this team. Let me know if you've got any questions about your team. Please, if you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 9k subscribers by the start of the season. So if you're not subscribed and you are enjoying these videos, please do hit that button and like before you go to help spread the word. But that's all we've got time for. There'll be plenty more between now and the start of the season. So I will see you all very soon.